Hello and welcome to another episode of Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie and I'm your host for today's show. Normally we'd crack on and do our review of Premier League, but I think because the Champions League's back, might as well get into that as well right now. So the first match that I'll go through is obviously the Liverpool game, which is a British representation for the Champions League. Liverpool, so obviously speaking as a Liverpool fan, very happy with the performance. It's been a long time coming in terms of how we played. It was back to our normal selves in terms of how we were pressing. We were a bit more aggressive, played with more tenacity as well. For me, it was good performances throughout the team, but two players for me that stood out were Kabak, our new signing, and Jones as well. So for me, both of them had great performances. Kabak had not a bad performance, I would say. Despite what a lot of Liverpool fans probably said over the weekend against Leicester City, which I will speak about later on during the show. But I feel like, he's a young player. He's just come into a new team, a new league, a new surroundings. So it will take time for him to get used to the way we play. But overall, I was impressed with how he performed. He was very aggressive with his tackles. Probably would have got a yellow card or two as well. But yeah, luckily that wasn't the case. Salah and Mane back on the scoring sheet as well. So for me, it's a great win. I saw quite a few things online where fans were quite jubilant in terms of our victory there and saying, we're through and like number 7's on the way. I wouldn't go that far ahead. I think, hold the brakes there. Let's just calm down a little bit. I know it's a good performance, but it doesn't mean we're going to win the Champions League right away. There's a lot of competition for that. So, and I think the season shows that we can't get too far ahead of ourselves. So let's just take it a game at a time. But hopefully the form continues on to this weekend, which is the Merseyside derby, which I'll speak about later on the show. But yeah, overall, great performance from Liverpool, I think. Leipzig, I thought would have done a bit more in terms of their attack because they're normally quite an energetic team, especially pressing from the front-hand side. But it wasn't. I think we were probably just too much in terms of how we played. We were quite fast in terms of getting the second ball. Even like getting headers, we were quite on top of them in that aspect. So yeah, great victory for Liverpool there. I did want to just mention quickly about Upamecano. So it's been confirmed that he will be signing for Bayern Munich next season. I don't think it was probably the best game to kind of review his overall performance. He was pretty shocking, if I'm honest with you. Gave away a lot of the ball. And we pretty much ran right around him. But, we can't forget he's a young player. He will take time. Obviously, when he plays for Bayern Munich, he's playing with, no offense to Leipzig, but better players around him as well. So, a bit harsh to judge someone on one appearance there. But yeah, overall, I think a fantastic performance for Liverpool there. The second game for me was just mind-blowing in terms of how dominant PSG were. Barcelona, for me, were pretty much bang average. Apart from the Messi penalty, which was unstoppable. You don't save those sort of penalties. But they were just so average in terms of they were playing. Griezmann and Dembele, they did have moments where they were attacking, but I personally, obviously speaking as a neutral, never felt like they were going to score. But PSG just had so much play, so much of the ball during their play. And yeah, they just literally demolished Barcelona. Me personally, I don't see Barcelona doing anything in the second leg. With it being at PSG as well, I think PSG for me, last year I actually predicted PSG to win, so obviously they lost in the final. I do feel like they're still one of the strong contenders to win the Champions League this year. Will they win it? We'll see how that goes. But I feel like they're a strong outfit, considering Neymar wasn't even playing and they looked so dominant. They've got more attackers compared to last season where they had Cavani and I think they had Icardi as well. But now they've got Keane as well, who's had a fantastic impact for PSG this season. So yeah, I think they're the probably the dark horse of the Champions League, but we'll see how that goes on. But this was a surprise result for me. Porto against Juventus. I personally didn't see this coming at all. Strange play from Juventus because they conceded in the first minute of the game, and then they also conceded in the first minute of the second half, which is just ridiculous in terms of how you're supposed to set out as a team. So I'm sure Pirlo had a few words to the boys after the game, but but fantastic win for Porto, to be fair. Uh, Having said that, Juventus did get the vital goal as well. So for me, that tie is still pretty much open. I can see either teams winning it, but I'll be honest, I see it. Whereas Juventus is theirs to win. Where the second leg will be at their home ground. I know there's no crowd, but it's still familiar surroundings as well. So I think they'll definitely win that tie. So yeah, that was a strange result there for me. But the most exciting game out of all of the games for me was the Sevilla and Dortmund game. This game just had full of goals. Suso scored in the first half with his right foot. Unusual from him. He's never really scored that many goals with his right foot there. Slight deflection on Hummels, but end of the day still went in. Daoud, who's more or less the unforgotten man at Dortmund, made his first start and scored a fantastic goal, hit a rocket in the back of the net. Beautiful goal. One of my favorite goals of the Champions League round up there. And the first Haaland goal, great 1-2 Sancho. And, you know, Haaland can score any type of goal. Like, he can score beautiful left-footed, right-footed, headed goals. But he can also do the dirty work where if he needs to stretch in front of the goalkeeper, he'll do that as well. And the second goal, nice move with Royce as well. That's 7 goals in 5 games in the Champions League. He's just unstoppable right now. So we'll see how his season goes, because I'm sure he won't. Me personally, I don't think he'll be at Dortmund next year. Remains to be seen where he ends up. But I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of speculation there as time goes on. But Sevilla did get the second goal in the late of the second half with De Jong coming on from the subs bench. It could be an important goal actually. So this tie is pretty much open as well. But it's an exciting counter in terms of the second leg. So great start for the Champions League. As to be fair, I've missed watching the Champions League, so it's nice to get the best of European teams back in action again. But we can crack on with our bread and butter, which is the Premier League. So, yeah, disappointingly, we'll start off with Leicester City and Liverpool. I'll be honest with you, obviously I interact with a lot of you guys on Twitter and stuff, and the overall reaction after the game was just like, me personally, I thought it was quite reactionary that a lot of the players were getting abused. So Kabak was getting tormented online. You know, I think people assumed he was a Turkish Van Dijk all of a sudden, the way people were speaking about him. Like, he's a young kid. He's just come into the team. So I don't think we can expect too much from him right away. But I actually feel like he had a decent game up till that point where he had that collision with Alisson. So for me, it was a bizarre game, because when we scored that first goal, I thought maybe we'll just hang in there and have enough to cement the win. But bizarre 10 minutes. Firstly, the Madison free kick for me was offside. VAR is like, for me personally, I want VAR scrapped for next season. I feel like it's creating more problems than it should do right now. It's making the game, you know, very boring right now. A lot of fans that I've spoken to have stopped watching football, full stop. So it's definitely ruining the excitement of the game, the beauty of the game. Will it happen? I don't know, but it's ruining a lot of moments in teams' overall season right now as well. So yeah, it's not nice to see. The clash that I mentioned with Alisson just had a bad week. Like, that's 3 mistakes in a week. And yeah, it's just miscommunication. Maybe, I don't think there's a language barrier, because Kabak speaks quite good English, but it just might have just been a thing where they didn't communicate very well. Just got a comment here from Boogie Brown 37. Liverpool was so open in the second half, very vulnerable. Yeah, I think that's probably correct, to be fair, because I think we started the game really well. The second half, we kind of continued onwards, but once we had that first goal, I don't feel like we were compact in terms of how we were set up defensively. So that probably played a part as well. And playing a slight high line as well didn't suit us in that part of the game. I feel like once you've got that first goal, it's probably important to take a step back, because they've got players that stretch teams, like Harvey Barnes, who I'll go into in a second, had a phenomenal game as well. And Jamie Vardy, we all know he's been doing this for year on year, and he will always play on the shoulder of any defense. So he had a great game. But Harvey Barnes in particular, he was phenomenal. That's his 12th goal of the season. For me, that's you have to consider him for the England squad in the Euros, but that's probably another topic there. But for me, he's been one of the standout young performers in the league this season. So the next game, like I mentioned earlier on, is against Everton, which obviously with our rivalry is an important fixture, but in the league it's just as important. So there's a 3-point gap between Liverpool and Everton right now, but Everton have a game in hand. So for us, it's very important that we start the game well and get the 3 points as well. We're in good form right now in terms of the last game, but one game doesn't represent how you go into the next one. So we'll see how that one goes for us. But the next game I'd like to cover is Man City and Tottenham. Yeah, what can I say? Man City, another great win for them. That's 17 wins in a row in all competitions. That's just breathtaking form right there. And I can't see them slow it down at all. I don't see them dropping any points whatsoever. The first goal was a bit of a funny one because they couldn't decide who was going to be the penalty taker. So it ended up being Rodri who stepped up to the penalty spot. And I'll be honest, that was quite a lucky penalty in terms of his finish. I don't think he'll be taking it anymore, especially how Pep Guardiola commented about it after the game. But the star of the show was Gundogan, as always. Always gets 2 goals a game. Doesn't do it in singles, unfortunately, for rival fans. But another great game for him. So his first goal, great passing from Sterling and Foden, goes through on goal and hits it with his left foot. Lloris should probably have done better, in my opinion, but Lloris does have that tendency where he doesn't cover his near post. So it could be one of those ones there as well. Boogie Brown 37, title possession for Man City here on in. Yeah, I can't argue with that. I think they're just in amazing form right now as well. Ederson as well actually got the assist for the Gundogan goal. And yeah, literally one kick and a 3 on goal. That's 11 in 12 games for Gundogan. That's just unbelievable. Me personally, I think he's player of the season. So I'm probably saying it's a bit prematurely, but I know Bruno Fernandes is having a great season as well. But I guess if you look at it in the end, if Man City do win the league, he has a trophy to represent it. So obviously it's neck and neck. Don't get me wrong; those two are definitely the outstanding performers of the season. But Gundogan, for me, he wins it hands down, and I don't see any other way, to be honest with you. So with this match week as well, because Man City didn't play in the last few weeks, they had a second fixture as well. So that was played yesterday against Everton. So it was a good game for Foden, who scored the opening goal. Everton did get the equaliser from Richarlison, but Mario scored a fantastic goal from his right from the left foot coming from the right hand side. I feel like he should be starting a lot more games. I don't know why he doesn't, but yeah, whenever he comes out, he makes a good appearance for the team. Boogie Brown's asking me, is it a quadruple? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. You can't rule it out, to be fair. Champions League will probably be the one that I feel like they may kind of miss out on, but you never know. They're in amazing form right now, so yeah, I wouldn't want to put my hand out there and say they're going to do it, but they're strong contenders. Let's say, because they've got the squad to back it up as well. They've got quality in depth, which a lot of teams don't have. So they don't even have Kevin De Bruyne right now or Aguero starting for them. So yeah, I wouldn't want to admit that on the show right now, but you never know. We'll see. We'll see how that goes for them. But yeah, Bernardo Silva as well scored the 3rd goal. I'll probably voiced this a few times. I'm not a fan of Pickford. I think he should have saved that last shot as well. Terrible on his part. But City are now 10 points clear. For me, it's their league. I can't see anyone getting anywhere near them, unfortunately. So that goes on to my next review, actually, is regarding Manchester United. A tricky game for United with West Brom, one of those teams, especially managed under Sam Allardyce. You just never know what you're going to get there. So they started the game by scoring first. So Dieng scored with a great header. Bruno came back with a fantastic left-footed volley, great equaliser. Bruno Fernandes reminds me of when Liverpool signed Suarez, actually, where he has such a great impact when he came at Liverpool. And unfortunately, the players around him weren't as good as him. So it's like they relied on that one person to score all the goals. And at that minute, that's happening with Bruno Fernandes as well. But obviously with time going, we'll probably see Manchester United strengthening his squad. But right now, he's definitely the man in the club right now. But I'll be honest with you, I think this is a missed opportunity for Manchester United. I think they've recently dropped too many points, considering they were top. They were joint top in January. I don't want to use these kind of terms, but it might be phrased elsewhere. But people may seem like they've bottled it right now. I think that's a bit harsh, but I do feel like the pressure may have gone to them a little bit. And normally they would have won these games, especially with having Bruno in the team. And we've got Rashford and Martial as well. They would normally stretch these teams and get the goals, but it's not working out, unfortunately. Ole's playing it down in terms of the title race. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of Ole. I feel like he hasn't managed the team correctly. I feel like there's games where when they've had the lead, for example, he hasn't managed it where they've not parked the bus as such, but played in a more compact way. I think his coaching ability is still in question, despite the form that United are in terms of where they are in the league. But that's come down to probably Liverpool, who've unexpectedly performed really bad due to the injury crisis. But I feel like this was the season for United to capitalize on that, actually. So forget Man City for a second. I feel like when they were joint, if they had that different kind of mentality to go game in and get the win, despite if they play well or not, I feel like they would have cemented a better challenge towards the top of the league. But, I'll be interested to see what United fans think, actually, in terms of how the team are performing right now and what would be regarded as a successful season for United. Because I feel like top four was always the aim. But if they finish third or second, I know it might seem like a missed opportunity where they could have won the league, but it's still a good season regardless, in my opinion. So let me know what you guys think about that, to be fair. The next one is Arsenal. So Arsenal back to scoring high number of goals now, to be fair. Aubameyang returns to the team, scoring his first Premier League hat-trick. Fantastic for a player who's had a difficult time off the pitch. So it's great to see him back, enjoying his football and playing well as well. Bellerin was in the score sheet. For me, he's been quite decent for Arsenal, actually. In the last few weeks, I feel like he's been one of their top performers. Smith Rowe and Saka, great. Again, they're just fantastic for Arsenal right now. Leeds did score two late goals, but for me, the damage was done beforehand. So great form from Arsenal, getting momentum in terms of building up their position in the league. But we'll see. We'll see how their season pans out at the end as well. The next one I'd like to review is Chelsea. So another win for the Blues. Great play from Werner, to be fair, especially for the first goal where he played quite well on the left-hand side, squared it to Giroud, who finished it nicely in the bottom corner. Keeper maybe could have saved it, but I guess that's a bit debatable in that aspect. But he did actually finally get onto the score sheet. I'm not sure, but I read a tweet where someone described it as a bicycle kick. I wouldn't go that far, mate, but don't know who that. I don't know if that was a Chelsea account or if that was a popular influencer on Twitter, but yeah, I wouldn't go that far. But it was a good goal for him, and I think it's fully deserved, to be fair, because he has performed quite well in the last few weeks for Chelsea. But in this game, he did really well, so I think it was fully deserved in terms of how he's performed for the team. But that puts Chelsea in fourth position right now, so the race for top four is heating up right now, and then the team that's just below them is West Ham. So West Ham claiming another win. The first goal that they scored was a penalty, bad tackle on Jesse Lingard, stonewall penalty. I don't think there's any debate about that. Bit of like a tussle between the two regarding who should take the penalty, but we all know Rice is the main penalty taker at the club, so he finished really nicely with his penalty there. Diop scoring a powerful header, so it's good to see him actually in the team because he's not featured that much this season, and he's always had a good presence in the back line, in my opinion. So great powerful header from the cross in the corner produced by Cresswell. And then the final goal was Ben Rama on the left-hand side passing it to Frederick, who produces a nice finish in the bottom corner. And that's another win for West Ham. They're just looking really strong this season. They're for me, they're in terms of the top four challenge. They're fifth right now. joint with Chelsea. So it's interesting to see how that top four is looking right now. So we'll see how that goes for everyone. But I'll quickly just do my team of the week. I don't think there'll be too many surprises, but obviously like to hear what you guys think in terms of what I've got there. So in terms of my goalkeeper, it was a choice between Martinez and Edison. I've gone for Martinez just because I feel like he helped the team win in terms of he made 9 saves during that match. So even though Edison had a great assist, and it's not normal for a goalkeeper to have an assist, I feel like the goalkeeper's bread and butter role is to save the shots and get the win for the team, and I feel like he did that. For me, Martinez has been the best goalkeeper in the league this year. That's what I believe. I think he's been phenomenal this year. So my defense, I've got Ola Aina from Fulham. So he got an assist over the weekend and he scored a goal yesterday as well. So that's why I've got him in my team of the week. I've got Diop from West Ham, probably simply because of the goal. I quite like the goal there. But the goal that I actually enjoyed the most this weekend was Loughton from Burnley, where he had a great 1-2 with Rodriguez and he just smashed it in top corner. Unexpected in terms of the type of goal. You don't really associate Burnley with those nice 1-2s on it, or tiki-taka, as people would like to call it. But yeah, I think that was a fantastic goal on his part there. And Ndidi, for me, was phenomenal against Liverpool. He just constantly broke up play. And then he had to play centre-back as well later on in the game. And he just fitted in nicely. So for me, he was a stand-up performer during that fixture there. As well as his partner in the team is Barnes. Barnes, for me, has been an unbelievable form. And the goal as well, obviously, there's a bit of not debate, but people saying, Kabak should have done better in terms of trying to keep up with him. But Harvey Barnes is no slouch. He's got a lot of pace on him. So he was always going to get ahead of the defender there. And nice finish to seal the win for Leicester City there. So I've got Fernandes. I think it's quite obvious in terms of his goal. Gundogan scoring another 2 goals. I believe he's injured right now. So me personally, I'm hoping he gets fit because he's doing well for my fantasy team there. And I've got Neto on the right-hand side, who scored a fantastic solo goal. For me, he's literally been one of the standout youngsters. As I kind of mentioned previously, I think I've got Biggie Brown saying great goal, Loughton. That was a fantastic goal by Loughton. Fantastic goal. But Neto, I can see a lot of teams trying to get his signature in the summer. It might not even just be Premier League teams. I can see teams from abroad, maybe like a Juventus or maybe one of the Spanish teams trying to go for him, because he's only 20, 21, I believe, and he's just in amazing form. And literally the sky's the limit for him in terms of his ability, because if he's showing this kind of promise right now, I feel like he can literally improve playing for a better team. So no disrespect to Wolves there. But yeah, I think he's definitely, alongside Barnes, I think he's one of the stand-up performers as well in terms of under 23s in the league this season. And I've got Aubameyang up front, obviously hat-trick hero there, and Josh Maja as well, who made his debut for Fulham, scoring 2 goals over the weekend. So I feel like he definitely had an impact in that team against Everton, which was a great win. The way they were playing, I think Everton got outplayed there. So yeah, I think great to see him in the league. I believe he used to play for Sunderland as well, which I didn't know before I did my research there. But yeah, good performance from him there. So before we do our viewer calling session, I would like to quickly do a roundup of the FPL. So my performance, I got around 76 points, I think I got, which isn't that bad. But a lot of the players were playing double points. Like if you had any Man City or Everton players, you would have got double points. But there was one gentleman in our league that got 112 points. And he goes by the name of Rizal Eko Kuniawan. I hope I have pronounced your name correctly there. Great performance on your part in terms of the league there. Yeah, I need to catch up because I'm slipping down the league. But we'll see how that goes on for me there. But let's quickly do our viewer calling session. So I've got Michael Brown, who's one of our regulars. There. How's it going, Michael?
Not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. What would you like to say?
Oh, well, as you can see behind me,
Yeah.
great performance tonight, by the way. Beating Solskjaer away,
Yeah.
in Turin to get off our Europa League, which is not where we want to be, but we have
Yeah.
to beat the opposition in front of us. I think it was a great performance tonight, more clinical, which had been United's Achilles' heel in the last few matches. We saw against Everton, literally time was up, conceding. West Brom, disappointing result that, because I felt that it was all about United's temperament going into that match and being professional, not just thinking that the bottom of the league, second from bottom, it'd be another easy stroll. As per Sheffield United, you saw what happened to them. They started off badly, conceded early, got themselves back into the game, but then against a low defensive block, never really moved the ball quick enough, to the wider areas to get in behind and start disrupting West Brom's shape. In fact, they did what United should have been doing to us right near the end and almost won the game. First time balls into the box, from the full backs, and almost took all 3 points. So disappointing result for United today. Sorry, at the weekend in the Premiership, and I feel like the form has abandoned them somewhat, and the injuries are starting to kick in as well. United's had a great run on the road, which is still undefeated, but momentum in the Premier League, I think that run getting them to second, they're starting to slow down somewhat, and probably at the wrong time of the season, especially when the top four, or especially from second to like top six, is very congested.
Yeah.
And United have Newcastle, Chelsea, and Man City in the next 3 matches. They can easily possibly lose against Chelsea and Man City and find themselves in 5th place. So it's that tight.
Especially, because I saw the Premier League table today, and the gap between United and Liverpool is only 6 points. So it is very congested in that sort of part of the table. Where do you see United finishing? Like, if you were to make a prediction right now, where do you see United finishing?
I see us finishing either second or third. If I stick my neck out, I'll probably say second, because I do believe that there's something about this team which I think it's about how they approach matches. They've got match winners in there. They do create chances, but they're not being clinical enough. And if United take the chances early, then I think we'll end up having more stronger kind of like ratios of winning the match, to a certain degree. But I think second place for United, but way off City.
What's your prediction for the weekend fixture against Newcastle? How do you see that pan out?
Well, you can never say never, because obviously Sheffield United beat Manchester United because the temperament going into that game. Newcastle not in the best of form. Callum Wilson's out. I see United winning that game, especially after tonight. I see United should be winning that game 2-0, but you can never say never. Not with United. Not with lockdown football as well.
Yeah.
You can never say never. We are seeing strange results.
Well, it's been one of those seasons, unfortunately, where literally anything can happen. So yeah, I can definitely vouch on that. Well, thank you for joining the show, Michael. Guys, if you don't know, Michael also is a channel podcaster as well. So his channel is Love Football, Love United. So please make sure you give him a follow on Facebook and on Twitter as well. So thank you for joining, Michael.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. So our next caller is Waleed, who I can see is a Manchester United fan. How you doing, Waleed? I can't hear you.
Yeah, you good? Thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, good. Thank you. So what would you like to say?
Yeah, just similar to the previous person that just came on.
Yeah.
We are doing well, but it's just there's no plan B. There's no plan B to Man United. So the likes of, I'm a big fan of Van der Beek, and I think he needs to be given a bit more of a chance, because relying on Bruno at the moment, if he gets injured or picks up a couple of cards, then what's our plan B, to be honest? I think Solskjaer is very lucky that we've got a decent enough squad, and kind of they are gelling together and they're going about the right way in terms of getting some results, but not all. But again, it's just the games against like Sheffield United and Everton, they let us down, and those results will cost us later down in the season, especially if we do start dropping points and other teams below us start picking up points at the end of the season, like it was last season between us and Chelsea in terms of that 3rd and 4th spot as well. So we don't want to kind of leave it until the end of the season where it gets a bit tricky in that sense. But I think by coming in, is a big bonus.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's a no-nonsense defender. As much as kind of Maguire and Lindelof, they've got some sort of partnership, but they're very, very soft in defence. I think Baye is the kind of no-nonsense, gets the ball player, everything, no messing around. And I think we do need that bit still at the back. I think he brings a bit of stability, especially with De Gea. Sometimes you never know what you're going to get with De Gea in some games. But for me, it's what is our plan B? And I generally think Van der Beek just needs given a chance, to be honest.
Yeah, would you play him in more games? Because I think he does make 1 or 2 appearances from the bench, but I feel like he should be starting a lot more games considering how attack-minded he is as well. Because a lot of your, in my opinion, a lot of your midfielders are quite similar in terms of how they play. So do you think he'll be a great option to have alongside Bruno, but also if Bruno's not playing well or if you need an extra man in midfield, it'd be great to come on?
Yeah, totally. Like, I'd give him a couple of run of games. Like, example, today in the Europa League, I think we're 3-0 up around the 70th minute or something like that. Bring him on. Get him going for the game that we're going to have on the weekend against Newcastle and starting there. Yeah. What's good about him, his passing's always one touch and he's always looking forward. So obviously you've got the likes of McTominay and Fred building a partnership between them. And if not, it's usually Pogba and Matic. I think with that kind of three, he can play in a 6 or an 8. But if you do want to kind of rest Bruno and have him playing against Newcastle, then why not play him as a number 10? I think the quality that he has, and we've seen it in the Champions League when he was in the Ajax team a couple of seasons back, is he is that kind of, I see him as like the Freddie Ljungberg that Arsenal used to have, where he makes those third man runs and late runs into the box. And definitely, I think if he just gets a couple of games going, we'll see the quality, and it will be good to have that extra right. We don't have to rely on Bruno all the time, as much as he's doing an amazing job. I just think Solskjaer at the moment is not really making the correct substitutes at the right time. I think there was a game that he brought him on for like the last 5 minutes, and you're like, what's the player going to do in the last 5 minutes? To be honest, like especially with his quality. And don't get me wrong, like I'm not a big fan of Fred, but he's been doing really well recently, and that's what happens when you get a good run. I think it's similar to Chicharito that we had a couple. Well, this is way back, and everyone said it. Like once he was on a good run, he was scoring goals, and I think Van der Beek's one of those players that he just needs to be on a run, and he'll be able to do the job definitely. And I think Martial, he needs to be given a break, to be honest. Like he's had so many sitters.
I was going to ask you about Martial because he gets, I think, mixed response in terms of the United fans. Some people love him, some people hate him. Where do you stand in terms of Martial?
He's a good player. He is a good player, but I just think sometimes if it's not going their way, just give him a break. Yeah, put them on the bench for a bit, let them start, let them evaluate, put in the work, then actually kind of go back to kind of earning their place back. If they then you always have that hunger in the team, and where everyone's working to be in the starting 11. And I think with that, similar to I guess Rashford, he's had a bit of a last 2-3 games a bit sloppy, and he's missed a couple of chances. So we're lucky that we've got Cavani. Yeah, definitely, I agree. Martial is he is lazy. He's had so many sitters, and again, it's the thing of we have players. We've got a good squad to kind of rotate, and we're quite lucky for that. So why not do that? But I think Solskjaer at the moment, he's just making the silly substitutions where he had, I think 2 games back, I think it was the Sheffield United game. He had Fred at left back. And you're like, well, he's got Alex Telles, and obviously I think Shaw came off. But you've got plays. We have a squad, so I'm a bit skeptical about Solskjaer. I think he's just very lucky that you've got a good squad at the moment, and obviously Bruno's saving his job, to be honest. So I'll definitely stick with Cavani up top. Greenwood's good run. Rashford obviously doesn't like playing on the right, so it's either on the left or on the bench. And again, just give other players a chance.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. What's your score prediction for the fixture against Newcastle this weekend?
3-1. Well, definitely Newcastle will score first, as per normal. then hopefully, I reckon it'll be 3-1. And again, I'm a big fan of Van der Beek, and I definitely think if he gets a good couple of runs, he will be a standout player for us, to be honest.
Cool. Thank you for joining, Walid. Really appreciate your
cheers.
opinion. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we've got someone else on the stream. It's Manny. How you doing, Manny? I can't hear you, Manny.
All good? All good? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, so state your team. Who do you support for the viewers?
Liverpool.
Yes.
Wednesday was a good result. I think I think the intensity was there. We pressed well. I think we pressed well from the front. Obviously, the 2 chances that we got, we were very clinical and put those away. We had to put those away. Obviously, I was always confident that Salah would put his chance away. Wasn't too sure about Mane because he's been going through like a patchy spell of recent. But I was more happy with the intensity and the press was there. I'm a little bit worried we're not creating as many. We're not creating chances, like clear-cut chances. But I think we can get that going with a little bit more consistency in the lineup. Another positive was Curtis Jones. Like he put in a good performance. You know what I mean? So I think that helped us. Kabak, he looked all right in this game. Like you said, a lot of people were giving him stick, but I don't actually think that wasn't his fault. On Saturday, I think that's got to go with Alisson. He just had a total head loss moment, and just the communication wasn't there, obviously. So, but I think there was positives to take from Wednesday. I'm a little bit worried that we're not creating. Sorry, Tuesday. I'm a little bit worried we're not taking chances. I mean, we're not creating the chances. But obviously, the 2 that we got, we just swept them up. So that's a positive to take. In terms of the game on is it Saturday?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Actually, it's funny enough. I'm actually gonna miss that game because I'm actually flying out on Saturday. So it's gonna be one of those ones where when you land, you switch on your phone, and if you see bare messages, then you know that there's a problem in it. So I'm hoping my phone will be like when I switch it on, it'll just be quiet. Which means that'll be a good result. But I actually don't know what he's gonna do. Like it's a weird one because obviously he's playing Henderson at centre back, and I'm tired of that. I actually want him back in midfield. Like it's actually getting very, very tiring now. Like,
would you start Davis?
Clearly, he's been injured, and clearly he's not ready.
No,
I think he's been injured, so we got no choice. But it's going to be interesting because I don't know what's going on with Fabinho. Whether he'll be back in the mix, I don't know what his fitness situation is. But what would you do if? Do
you know what? I would have personally just played Phillips and Kabak together as a pairing. I know
you're on the Phillips train.
Not on the train, but I feel like I want kind of similar to what you just said. I just want Henderson back in midfield.
Same, I'm dying. It's killing me. Like it's actually like when you see Henderson playing now, he's 30 going on 31. He's actually in his prime. Like he's playing the best that we've ever seen him play. Like the influence is there. It has to be in midfield. We're getting overrun in midfield. Like and I see obviously you see opposing fans saying things about Thiago and all the little jabs and stuff like that, but they're not understanding that when you have a talent like Thiago and he's come into our setup, I feel like we need to do as much to help those type of luxury type players. So you play Thiago in midfield, but he needs the legs of Henderson and Fabinho, in my opinion, to do all the running. I don't know if you've been watching them. You see Thiago's getting overrun, and that's because we just need Henderson back in midfield. But I think he's trying to. Right now, it looks like he's getting a relationship going between Henderson and Kabak.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know. I think we've got. I think we've got next week off as well.
Yeah.
I don't think we've got any games next week. So I don't know what the situation is when Fabinho comes in. Would you put Fabinho in the midfield and leave Henderson and Kabak, or would you put Fabinho and Kabak, and that's a new partnership? That would be like the 8th partnership. So
we've had quite a few new partnerships, haven't we?
What would you do?
Do you know what? I would probably put Fabinho in the back. I know it's another new partnership, but I feel like out of Fabinho and Henderson, I feel like he looks more stable in that position.
Yeah.
Whereas against Leipzig, you probably noticed there was a couple moments where Henderson got stretched by a couple of the strikers.
The last chance.
The last chance by the South Korean striker.
Because I think he doesn't have that like the defend
that awareness around him, isn't it?
No, like to go back. It's almost like he's looking forward and he's always realized he's got to go back, kind of thing. So, I don't know, man. I feel like, well, it's not like I don't know, but I know that Henderson needs to be in midfield. Like the intensity, it's evident to see. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays it in the weeks coming up. But in terms of Saturday, I don't know what the result will be. I just know that we need a win, like, and we need to be putting on wins fast because if we do not get top 4, that's going to be catastrophic. So. Yeah. And like I said to you earlier on this week, I think we've got 14 games left.
Yeah,
I think we might need about 10 W's on that.
Yeah, the way everyone else is performing right now, it's not like people are dropping points. You got West Ham, Chelsea, Leicester; they're all gaining points right now.
Chelsea, it's almost like the Tuchel trainers. They're not making any noise, but obviously they've got a manager who's got a system now in it. So do you know what I mean? So. It's just about the time for him to work with those players and get something going in it. So we have to be we have to be on our A game, to be honest. But in terms of the team for Saturday, I'd like to. It'll probably be Alisson in goal, obviously, and then we've got Trent. I think he's going to play Kabak and Henderson, and then Robertson. Robertson needs a rest. He's just been getting rinsed.
I know. I personally didn't want him to start.
Against Leipzig,
but
I think he's got no choice because obviously Tsimikas has had injuries, and I don't know. Klopp's probably seeing something that we're not seeing in training, and he just looks maybe he might be off the pace a little bit, and he's got no choice. But for me, Robertson's getting rinsed. I think Genie's getting rinsed as well. Like these guys are playing a lot, and then obviously not to add also to add in Bobby as well. Bobby Firmino, I think these guys are playing a lot of games, but it's funny because the midfield, obviously I'd like to see Henderson in there, but I know he's not going to be in there. I would play Jones in the derby. I would play Jones.
100%. Can't drop Jones. I feel like
Jones. For me, Jones gives us that. I don't know, the urgency, that youth. You know, the enthusiasm in the middle of the park, the endeavour.
He's more attack-minded as well. That's what I feel. Like he's trying to thread the final ball.
Yeah, and then obviously it's a weird one because we've got no choice but to play Genie. He's been played so many times, but I would just I would play him in there. And then who was the third guy that played in midfield?
Thiago.
Sorry?
Thiago?
Oh yeah, Thiago. Yeah, that's another one. It's a weird one, man, because I would really like to see Henderson in midfield, and for this game, I would take Thiago out the firing line a little bit. But obviously, and then the front three just picks itself. We got no choice, really. Like, what?
But you know what it is with the midfield? Because for me, that's I know the defense is the issue this season as well, but even just to get the right balance is so tricky because Milner's been injured, where we could normally rely on him.
Yeah,
and then we've got Keita. Like, God knows if he's injured.
Bro, I don't know about other Liverpool. I've given up on Keita. It's not because he's a bad player. I just think the injuries is just like. I think I saw on Kopish the other day in it. I think Drifty was like, he said something funny. He said Keita's 2 weeks away from being 2 weeks away in it. That's how it feels, bro. Like, and how long can we keep this going? Like, so a big summertime is going to be a big. The midfield is going to be important for us because if you look at it. Milner's 35 going on 36.
Yeah.
Ox and Keita can't be relied on because they get injured all the time. Genie's leaving. It looks like he's leaving. And Genie plays a lot of games. Like he's a very robust player that's always available, whether it's snowing or sunshine. You know what I mean? He's always available. And then who else have we got? Jones, obviously. I probably think we need about 2 midfielders, you know? So...
Yeah,
and then the front three, obviously, like I said for Saturday, I just think yeah, the front three pick itself. Like we've got no choice. Like,
Yeah.
we've literally got no choice. Like no one else is doing.
No.
I think Shaq's a good player, but I don't think he's suited to the way we play.
No.
And then obviously I'm still rattled about the Jota incident. Like I don't understand till now why we actually played this guy in that dead rubber. Like, do you know what I mean? So obviously when he comes back, hopefully he'll come back in a couple of weeks' time. He'll help out with the workload. But I would like to see in the summer. I'd like to see another. Personally, I would like to see another wide player, and I think we need a forward. I think.
Who are you thinking?
In terms of the forward, actual forward, I couldn't give you a name. I just think that's up to our scouting department to look into.
Well, it's the budget as well. How much money we've got to spend.
It's the budget as well. So you see all types of people screaming Haaland and Mbappe. They're off their heads. Like it's not going to happen. No. It's just we've got a different kind of model. We're shopping in a different supermarket altogether. So it's just a myth. Like when you see and you see on Twitter all these like this false propaganda like about Mbappe being interested in Liverpool and how John Henry spoke to him and flew him around a private jet in 2000. It's not going to happen. In terms of the wide player, I don't mind seeing Rafinha looks all right.
Yeah, that's the guy I want at the club.
Oh, you like Rafinha? And also, I know you mentioned Neto. I think Neto is a myth now, man. I just think that's already out of our budget the way he's performing. I just think I think they're going to be clubs who can actually flex more from the money aspect.
Yeah.
So I can't see. And in the midfield, I couldn't tell you who I'd want in midfield. I wouldn't like. I do like Basuma though, from Brighton.
Yeah.
I think, he'd be a good addition. And then obviously I think we need another centre back as well. I think I would get rid of. Matip is another case of Keita. Like can't stay fit, and he's not helping out. So I think going forward, I don't know. I could be wrong. This may be the plan. Obviously, it'll be Van Dijk, Gomez.
Yeah.
I think if Kabak performs well, we keep him.
Yeah.
And then I think they'll look at a fourth defender, maybe, which will be the guy from Marseille. Yeah. I think that's the guy that they really wanted in the January transfer window, but they just left it too late. But I'm not going to get into FSG and all of that because that's just that's another conversation.
That's another episode there.
Another episode. So yeah, man. Hopefully we get a result on Saturday. And when the Haaland deals. Yeah, Haaland's a myth, mate, for Liverpool anyway.
Yeah. What about Ndidi? Boogie Brown says Ndidi. What do you think of Ndidi?
He's a quality player. Indeed, he's a quality player, but I think he's out of our price range as well. I think you know where we have that you know we have the moment where that player makes the jump up from a certain level. So I think indeed he moved from Genk to Leicester.
Yeah,
I think that moment where he's moved to Leicester, I just think him moving from Leicester to Liverpool is just going to cost us in price. We should have a talent like that. We should have got in at when he was at Genk. So it's a bit similar with the the Minamino thing. I feel like if Minamino went to another club and performed well there, and then we were looking at him, then the price would have just been. Do you know what I mean? So it'll be an interesting one, especially with Haaland. But I can't see Liverpool looking at Haaland. I think Haaland will end up going City for some reason. I just have that feeling.
I'll say that. I have a feeling, and I don't have any sources or anything like that. But I have a feeling City might get Kane next season. You know. You
think?
Yeah, I think that's what they want.
It's so funny because I always wind up, what do you call it? I always wind up Spurs fans about Harry Kane thinks he's not going to be faced with that moment. He thinks he can avoid it. So I wind them up and say, you can't avoid your birthday kind of thing. Like the moment that will come, do you know what I mean? I think it's a bit similar to when we had Steven Gerrard, but the only difference is Steven Gerrard actually won things. So that was enough to keep him, to keep him there kind of thing. Kane hasn't won anything, so it'll be interesting. But I think to get Levy to part is gonna be a tough one, mate.
He's the toughest one out of all of them, to be fair.
It's gonna be the toughest. But I think this summer something has got to give because he's 28 this summer. So it might be that moment where you look in the mirror and he looks in the mirror and says, I've got to make a decision here. Do I want medals or do I want all-time record of...
Yeah.
And he can get both, to be honest, if he moved to a Premier League side. But I think City will be after Haaland, if I'm being honest. I just think it just makes sense for all parties. Like, they need a Aguero replacement. Haaland's release clause, next year is 75? Maybe he'll pay a little premium on top of that. And then his dad played for City as well. So it's just, I don't know. When you put all these things together, I think City will may get Haaland. But in terms of Liverpool's business, I think it's just more of the same for us. I think we look for these young players, and then obviously the whole buy to sell policy, which is like I said to you in the past. It's not going to keep, when you're Liverpool, it ain't going to keep you at the top. It's one thing getting to the top, but staying there is a different thing. But we'll get into that whole FSG thing another time, innit, bro? But hopefully when I land on Saturday, I switch on my phone. There's no messages. Then that's a good sign, innit? So hopefully we can pick up the 3 points and I get a breather this weekend, and you get a breather.
What's your prediction? What's the scoreline?
I think 3-1.
3-1. Cool.
I think 3-1. I just think we're gonna be extra motivated because they fucked us over in September, man. Was it September we played them or October? I can't even remember.
October. That's when Van Dijk got it.
Everything about that game pissed me off. Like from the Van Dijk incident, like the fact that he was clattered down, and the only thing VAR were concerned with was drawing the lines out, for offside. That pissed me off. Richarlison, he just pissed me off with his tackle on Thiago. It's just like you guys are just deliberately out here to. And I read a stat. I think that apparently they're like one of the dirtiest teams in the league.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by that.
I mean the Mane incident. I mean the Henderson's goal that was disallowed. That was how's that? There's just no consistency with VAR. It's like on Saturday when Maddison scored his goal. These guys are drawing out these lines and adding extra lines to make it. They're just crazy. The whole thing's frustrating, man. But like I said, man, I think we'll do it 3-1. What do you think?
I'm going for 2-1. I think we'll win it. I think we'll perform better than we have been in the Premier League. It'll be similar to how we performed against Leipzig. But I think, like you mentioned, the creativity is not quite there, so that's why I'm not giving it a sort of like a bigger scoreline.
Yeah.
I think we'll comfortably win. I think Calvert-Lewin might not be playing either.
But I think that's mind games. I think he will be fit. They'll try and.
You reckon?
I don't know. What injuries he got? Do you know?
Hamstring.
Oh, is it hamstring?
Okay. So he'll need at least 2-3 weeks. But that happened a couple weeks ago. So he might just make it, or he might make the next fixture. But yeah, we'll see.
Hopefully, man. I'm just praying when I land. My phone doesn't pop. It's not popping off or anything like that. And then when I get to the hotel room, I can just check out the highlights or whatever. Or a nice day. Yeah, man. Good talking to you, bro.
Thank you, Manny. Thanks for coming on the show. Speak to you soon.
Speak to you soon, mate.
Cheers. Take care. Thank you. Okay, so I'll quickly do a wrap up of my predictions as well. So, preview of the next game for match week 25, Liverpool and Everton. Like I just mentioned to Manny there, I think we'll win the game 2-1. I think it'll be a comfortable performance, but I don't see Everton threatening us that much. So I'm hoping it is a good performance from Liverpool's side because we have been lacking creativity in the last few weeks. And I feel like this is the game where blood's, rising high as well in terms of the rivalry there. So hopefully, we get our gears going there and make a good statement. And then from there on, build our performances onwards because we need that top four. It's very important that Liverpool finish top four in order to kind of cement their legacy going forwards. But yeah, I'm confident we'll win that game there. And then the last game is, one of the big games in my opinion is Arsenal versus Man City. So for me, it's Man City. I can't see anyone stopping him right now. I'd give that a 3-1 to Man City. Probably give it to Saka in terms of scoring it for Arsenal. But I can't see Man City dropping any points whatsoever. They're simply breathtaking and unstoppable right now. So they're definitely the team to beat this season. But that wraps us for today. So please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're on social, do follow me on Instagram at ozzie.ftp and ozzie.ftp on Twitter. But yeah, so that wraps us for today. So thank you for listening, everyone, and we shall be back next week, I believe. So we'll be covering match week 25 next week, early next week. Thank you, and see you soon, guys.